My daughter disowned me because of her mother's lies. Years later, she came back begging for help, but by then, I had already moved on. Hello Reddit I+ here. My name is Daniel Grant. I'm 56 now, but this story begins almost 18 years ago, when my world quietly fell apart, and I didn't even realize it. Back then, I was a high school teacher living in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was married to Lena, a woman I had met during a teacher's conference. She taught art, I taught math. We had a daughter, Ava, who meant everything to me. I still remember helping her with school projects, packing her lunch every morning, and sitting through hours of ballet recitals even when I had essays to grade. To the outside world, we were the typical middle-class family, modest, content, and close-knit. But things aren't always what they seem. It started subtly. Around the time Ava turned 13, Lena and I began drifting. She was spending more time out with friends or working late at the gallery. At first, I didn't question it. Marriage changes, and I figured we were just hitting a rough patch. But then Ava changed too. She stopped talking to me like she used to, became withdrawn, cold even. I'd come home from work and she'd be locked in her room. When I asked if she wanted to go out for ice cream, she'd say she was busy. When I helped her with homework, she'd reply in one-word answers, looking uncomfortable, like I was a stranger. At first I thought it was just teenage growing pains. But it got worse. One night she screamed at me during dinner and said, "Why don't you just leave already? Mom's been crying for years because of you." That sentence stopped me cold. Crying? Because of me? That night, I confronted Lena. I asked her, calmly, what was going on. Her reaction wasn't confusion or sadness. It was anger. "I've had to protect Ava from you," she said, arms crossed. "What are you talking about?" She threw out accusations I'd never heard in my life. That I was controlling. That I never supported her dreams. That Ava was afraid of me. I was stunned, shocked to my core. I'd never raised a hand to either of them, never shouted. If anything, I bent over backward to make things work while Lena pursued her gallery ambitions, often working late while I took care of dinner and homework. But Lena had planted something in Ava's mind. Something ugly, and she had watered it every single day until it grew into resentment. I tried everything. Therapy, joint counseling, even writing Ava letters. But I was fighting a war I didn't even know was happening until it was too late. When Ava turned 18, she left for college in New York. The day she left, she didn't hug me. She didn't say goodbye. 3 months later, the divorce papers came. Lena got most of the marital assets. I didn't fight. I was too tired. I just wanted peace. She kept the house, the car, and worst of all, my relationship with Ava. I moved into a small apartment outside town, picked up extra tutoring work to stay busy. Holidays came and went without a call from my daughter. No birthday cards, no emails. When I tried reaching out, I got nothing but silence. It was like I'd been erased. Years passed. I stopped hoping for a reunion. I let Ava go, not out of bitterness, but because I realized clinging to someone who didn't want me in their life was a slow death. I joined a cycling group, started hiking, even met someone. Claire, a nurse with a quiet smile and kind eyes. She had a grown son who, oddly enough, treated me more like a father than Ava ever had. I rebuilt my life from scratch, not perfect, but peaceful. Then, last year, out of the blue, I got an email. Subject line, "I need to talk." It was from Ava. My hands trembled as I clicked it open. The message was short. "Dad, I know we haven't spoken in a long time. I'm sorry, I need your help. Can we meet?" Part of me wanted to delete it. Another part, the part that never stopped being her father, agreed. We met at a quiet cafe near downtown. She was 28 now. Polished, successful looking, but her eyes, they looked tired. She gave me an awkward smile, the kind people give to distant relatives at funerals. She didn't hug me. Just sat down, ordered coffee, and got right to it. "Mom's sick," she said. "She's been diagnosed with early-onset dementia. She has no money. She blew through everything. She doesn't even remember her own name sometimes." I blinked. "I'm sorry to hear that." She looked down, then added, "I've been paying her bills for the last 2 years, but I can't do it anymore. My rent is 3 months behind. I'm in debt. I'm drowning." I stayed quiet, watching her. She took a shaky breath and said, "I know I pushed you away. I was wrong. I should have listened, but I need your help now. Please." And that's when everything inside me settled, not with anger, not even with sadness, just clarity. "Ava," I said gently, "do you know why your mom told you those things about me?" She looked away. "I'll tell you," I continued. "It's because she knew she was losing control. She needed someone to blame when things didn't go her way, so she made me the villain in your story." I pulled out my wallet and handed her an envelope. Inside was a letter, dated 10 years ago. It was one of many I had written to her, letters that were never answered. This one detailed my side of the divorce, the pain I felt, and my constant love for her. She read the first few lines, and her face crumpled. "I didn't know," she whispered. "She told me you never tried." "She lied," I said quietly. "But you never asked, and that hurt more than anything." She cried then. Quietly, no drama. Just quiet tears over a bridge she'd burned long ago. "I'm sorry," she whispered again. I nodded. "I believe you. But I can't give you what you want. Not now. I've already let go." We sat there a while longer. She asked if we could keep in touch. I said maybe. I didn't make promises I couldn't keep. I paid for her coffee and walked out into the early spring air, feeling lighter than I had in years. Sometimes life doesn't give you closure with fireworks or grand apologies. Sometimes it just hands you silence, and you learn to live with it. Ava never truly came back for me. She came back because she ran out of options, and by then, I had already found my peace. A week passed after our cafe meeting. I didn't expect to hear from Ava again, but she called. Not to ask for money this time, just to talk. The conversations were brief, hesitant. She would tell me about her job, the stress, the guilt she carried. I didn't rush her. I didn't bring up the past, unless she asked. I let her sit with the silence when it came. She was trying, tentatively, but I knew not to confuse effort with restoration. Then, one night, she said something that caught me off guard. "I went through Mom's storage unit," she said. "I found your letters, the ones you wrote after the divorce." My heart dropped. She never gave them to me. There were over 20, some still sealed. She paused, then added, "I read every single one, twice." I cried. I got angry. Not at you, at her, and at myself. I didn't respond immediately. What could I say? She continued, "All those years I spent hating you, convincing myself you were cold and selfish. I was just parroting what she told me. I let her hurt you through me. I became part of her punishment." There it was, finally, the truth. Naked and painful. Ava had been a weapon, sharpened by Lena's resentment, wielded against the one person who would have taken a bullet for her. But acknowledgement isn't the same as reconciliation. And wounds don't close just because someone finally says, "I'm sorry." A month later, Lena passed away. Ava called me from the hospital. Her voice was numb. She didn't even recognize me, she whispered. She thought I was her nurse. I sent flowers to the funeral. I didn't attend. Not out of spite, but because that chapter was already closed. I had mourned the end of that life years ago. Ava took some time off after the funeral. She stayed with friends, then eventually called and asked if she could visit. When she arrived, Claire had set out coffee and tea. She stayed in the background, sensing the weight in the air. Ava looked around my modest home, the bookshelves, the pictures of hiking trips, the framed photo of Claire and me at Lake Tahoe, and something in her face shifted. "You look happy," she said. I nodded. "I am." She sat down across from me. "I always thought you were just angry and bitter after the divorce, but I was wrong. You were just hurt, and you moved on." "I had to," I said quietly. "No one was going to do it for me." She looked away. "Is it too late to fix things?" That was the question, wasn't it? I didn't answer right away. I looked out the window at the bird feeder, where two cardinals flitted in and out. I thought about the years I lost, birthdays, graduations, milestones I wasn't allowed to attend. I thought about the hollow space in me where a father-daughter bond used to be. "No," I finally said. "It's not too late. But we won't be picking up where we left off. That place is gone. We'll have to build something new. Slowly. Brick by brick." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "I'll take whatever you're willing to give." Over the following months, Ava and I spoke more. She visited from time to time. Not as a daughter trying to reclaim a father, but as a woman trying to understand the man she had misunderstood for so long. We weren't a family again. Not like before, but there was warmth growing, tentative and fragile. It wasn't about forgiveness anymore. It was about presence, choice, the two people trying in the ruins of what was lost to find a quiet kind of peace, and that was enough. Claire and I eventually got married. It was a small ceremony in the backyard. Ava attended. She sat quietly, tears in her eyes, but they weren't tears of regret anymore, just acceptance. She brought me a small gift, an old photo of the three of us from a trip to Myrtle Beach when she was 9. She had cleaned the photo up and framed it. "Thank you," I said, genuinely moved. She smiled. "For everything you wrote back then, and everything you're allowing now." As she hugged me, I knew we'd never be the same as we once were, but maybe, just maybe, we'd become something new. Not a return, but a beginning.